Hey everybody! Today I'm going to show you how to make onion soup, French onion soup, directly from the onions from the garden. These are the last onions from last winter. They grew all winter and I just harvested them this spring and they've been sitting around. I don't do any measurements, so let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to dice up these onions, we're going to saute them and caramelize them, and then I'm going to add homemade smoky chicken broth. I know traditionally it's made with beef broth, but this will be fine. I'm going to use salt, pepper, Worcestershire sauce, and 3 different types of cheeses. I've got Asiago, Parmesan, and some cheddar. And then for the bread, I used my bread machine to make this basic white loaf of bread, and it's still nice and warm. That'll go really well with the soup. Some of you might not have ever seen an actual onion. So obviously you've got the bulb, and this right here is what's left of the leaf. And I cut off the scape, what would become the flower. And now all of this is dry, and these are nice solid onions, but we have to get rid of all that excess foliage. So really easy, you're just gonna cut off the stem end and the base end to get down to the onion. So that's starting to look more like an onion, right? Now these are homegrown onions, so I don't use pesticides, anything like that. So they're a little rough, but they taste just as good as store-bought, maybe better. And so you see, once you get past all that mess, you got just a normal basic white onion. I'm gonna slice those thinly, and I'll get back in just a minute. I've also got this big yellow onion. I'm gonna add that in for a little diversity of flavor. To sliver these, I'm just cutting with the direction of the grain of the onion. And as these break apart as they're cooking, they'll become those nice French onion slivers. I've got this big dish full of onions. It's about that much. And I'm gonna take a good dollop of butter and start sauteing the onions. It's all melted, so I'm gonna add the onions. And now I'm gonna saute these onions probably for about 45 minutes on medium heat. And what's gonna happen is that the sugars are really gonna come out of these onions, and they're gonna be so tasty, a little smoky, and they'll be reduced in volume. They'll be perfect for the soup. All right, it's been about 30 minutes. And they're starting to brown up. I have to stir them frequently, but look at the stuff on the bottom of the pan. That glaze, that nice brown caramelized sugary stuff, that's what you want. Now that the onions have browned, I'm going to add a quart jar of my homemade smoked chicken stock. I'm going to add probably about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to add some fresh ground black pepper. And I decided I'm going to add some of these bay leaves too. These are bay leaves off my property from a wild bay tree. Maybe I'll do a video on that some other time. But basically 2 of those dried bay leaves, and now I'm going to bring it up to a simmer. The other thing I forgot to mention is that it's important to scrape the bottom of the pan to deglaze all that nice caramelized onion sugar off the bottom of the pan. So I'm using a flat metal spatula, and I'm just scraping it along the bottom to basically solubilize, to deglaze that layer off the bottom of the pan. All right, this soup is ready to be put together. So let's bring it over to the counter. All right, here's our soup. And you see I've got the homemade bread sliced. I've got it in a deep bowl. Now I'm not gonna go all authentic with this. I don't have French onion soup bowls or anything like that I can put in the oven to melt the cheese. So I'm just gonna ladle some of the soup onto the bread and then put the cheese on top of it. And a lot of it's gonna melt. So here's our 3 different types of cheese. I might possibly put these in the microwave just to melt that cheese, but let's see if it melts on its own. All right, sure enough, I put it in the microwave just to melt this cheese, but let me show you what we're looking at here. We've got thick, delicious, caramelized onion with that nice homemade bread that's soaking up the soup, and the melty cheese, 3 types of cheese. Oh, this is gonna be so good.